Yeah, I think we are live on YouTube. So my name is Endo Miller. I'm 32 years old. I'm geologist from Goiânia, but now I'm living in Campinas. And now today we're gonna discuss about the poverty. The characteristics of poverty in Brazil. Milena, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is, I am a high school student. I live in Brasilia, and I've been participating of TNT for I think more than 6 months for now. Yeah.
Amazing.
So it's a pleasure to be here with you guys today.
Yeah, be welcome again. How about you, David? Can you present yourself again,
Oh, sure.
please?
My name is David. I'm a geoscientist. I'm from Nigeria. Currently, I'm studying in Campinas, at State University of Campinas. Yeah, in Barão. Yeah. I'm new
Thanks.
to TNC, so.
Yeah, be welcome. I'm glad to have you here, man. How about you, Renato? Can you introduce yourself again, please?
Hi everyone, my name is Renato. I live in São Paulo. I work for a government, and now I'm trying to improve my English here.
Yeah, amazing. And how about you, Marcos?
Hi guys, good morning. So my
Good
name is
morning.
Marcos. I'm a mechanical engineering student at the Federal University of Itajubá, and I work at Alelo as a Scrum Master. So nice to meet you guys. I'm here at
Yeah.
for now, I think 3 months or so.
Yeah, amazing. So guys, let's start with the first question. And I know that David is not, from Brazil, but he can add another perspective because he is from Nigeria. So it's very smart and wise guy. So it's very happy to be here, to having him here. In your opinion, what are the characteristics of poverty in Brazil? Marcos, please.
Well, I think we have a historical characteristic that is really strong in poverty. So we have some people and some ethnies that are more poor than others. So I guess the main characteristics is, let me see, is the region. So where the people are. So some states and some regions are poorer than others, and also the color of your skin. It represents a lot of the more poor people. And I guess that's the both of them.
Yeah, good. And how about you, David? What do you think? You're new here, so what's your opinion about what you see here in Brazil?
Oh, okay. Well, no offense meant, but I mean, I see a lot of this what's the word for it? There's a huge gap, yeah, between the lower class and the higher class. And unfortunately, what Marcos said is kind of right. I mean, it kind of runs along the racial profile. I mean, you tend to see the lighter color much more on the higher class of the society than darker colored people. It's an unfortunate situation, but I think it has to do with education and civilization. I mean, how much people are willing to learn a skill, get enlightened on things, and not just being focused on the sweetness of life. I mean, there's a difference between those who want to develop themselves, improve themselves, and not just live in the reality, in the present reality of, oh, let's just have fun, let's just get drinks. As far as we have enough money to eat right now, let's not bother about what the future holds. And it's just very sad. Unlike the situation back there in Nigeria, where, I mean, the bulk of people from Nigeria were blacks majorly, and yeah, we have poverty cases. These poverty cases are usually restricted to the illiterates, in quotes, like those who didn't go to school or didn't have the opportunity to
Yeah, the same
get
here.
into. Yeah, so I think there's a very close relationship between being educated and the state of living as well. So
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, thanks for your answer. We have a lot of questions, so we're gonna discuss a bit more about education, about how can we try to overcome this. So, what do you think, Renato, about this question?
About poverty in Brazil, I think
Yeah, the characteristics.
it's a kind of historical situation, and we can change this with education. It begins with our fathers, I think. If we have a good education, we can change the poverty in Brazil, I think.
Yeah, good point. And how about you, Milena? What do you think?
I think one of the biggest characteristics of poverty here in Brazil is the inequality of opportunities. Like, we all have different opportunities and some of us don't even have it. So I think poverty manifests a lot in this. Like, I study in a public school, and even there I can see the difference between my classmates. Some of us have more opportunities than the others. So I think it's something that stand out here in Brazil.
Yeah, yeah, totally agree with you. And I agree with you all, we have a kind of historically, perspective, and also the education, the inequality that, that is a kind of structural in our society. So it's very, in my opinion, it's very, root. The problem is a kind of root, bad root that we have. So let's move forward. What do you think we need to do to overcome the poverty in Brazil? Imagine you being a politician. Milena, you can start.
I think it's a long journey, so I don't know what can I say to start, but I think it's something that needs to start from the little things to the bigger ones, because I don't think it's something that can change from a day to another. So I don't know. I think everyone said about education, and I believe that education is one of the strongest power that we have to change a country, especially Brazil, because since many years we don't have these. How can I say this word? Like, the government doesn't invest. Is that right? Like, invest in education. So I think it's something that we need to start changing. And also I think it comes from ourselves, like, to help the other person and like share what we have. So I think that's it.
Yeah, amazing. And you, Max, what do you think?
Okay, so I might say something that is a kind of polemic, and you might not agree, but I really agree with the quotes that we had. So when I was going into college, we started having the quotes for poorest people and for racial perspective, and also from public school and that is different from others. And now that I'm going into the market, we are starting to have the selective process, especially for Black people, selective process, especially for people that are like below the minimum rate of conditions, So the enterprise are also investing on political actions that are, I think, like combining education perspective and actions with the marketing, accepting these people after they graduate and they have the time in school. I think we have a good solution that in long terms, after like a long time, we can turn this situation.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. I totally agree. And I didn't understand about the polemic because
Okay.
it was a good one, How about you, David? What do you think? You can say,
Yeah, I mean, you guys
I can say
are,
about Nigeria if you want.
yeah, definitely. You guys are very right with all you said. I I can relate to most of it. I mean, even though I'm coming from a more monoracial country compared to Brazil, that is very biracial, you begin to understand that, I mean, the government has their part to play, right? I mean, the government can provide schools, scholarships, and provide opportunities for the less represented ethnic groups and stuff like that. But I feel like the bulk of the work is on the people themselves, like the families. I mean, with all these opportunities there, are they willing to do what is necessary? I mean, because somehow, like, for example, one of the things that Trump tried to do when he was, I mean, I'm not a fan of Trump, but one of the things he tried to do was not give out jobs or opportunities based on the fact that, oh, I am Black and I don't have opportunities, I need to get this job. Are you qualified enough to have that job? So in as much as the government is being sympathetic with the minority group, it's not enough. The minority group in quote, that's we Blacks or the poverty class, we have to work, we have to um, enlighten ourselves, which the government might not be able to do. We have to be sure that we're responsible in our actions. If you're giving birth to children, you have to take it upon yourself to train these children, to educate them on the right things to do. I mean, this is more of a communal thing in the family, the right ways. Yeah, the government is trying to improve these things, but this is what you need to do. You need to push hard. You need to be qualified to get those opportunities, and not just based on sympathy. Because at the end of the day, you're going to have a situation whereby the society is going to suffer because the government is trying to push in people into the system, whether they are qualified or not, and you're going to have more problems where, okay, someone who doesn't really understand the system gets into power and becomes your president, and he's just like a doorhead. He doesn't even know what he's doing. You're going to create more problems because he came into power because of sympathy. So the same thing with the private sector. I mean, you're bringing in people, or say, oh, we want to give preferences to the Black people or to the those in below the poverty. Are they qualified to get the job done? Right. So we have a lot of work to do as individuals, as a community, to help shift those dynamics.
I think I agree with you more or less, but I'm gonna add another problematic perspective, so please wait. What do you think, Renato?
Well, I think the main things to we need to change the poverty is to improve the education. The government could help poverty people much more, I think, and could help with I don't know. I think the education is the main things the government could change in Brazil. Change the system, the education system.
I agree with you. I think the main point.
If you have a good education, you can change your sons. Will study better.
So it's good because we are kind of following a flow of the question. That I'm gonna add another perspective, that is the scares, about the poverty, scare of poverty, because sometimes we can have a good education, but how about yourself in deep, your feelings and something like this. So I'm gonna we move forward, another question is, poverty is not just about money. What are the emotional consequences of poverty? You can start, Renato, please.
The emotional consequences, I think, how can I say, fome, yes. Let me see, hunger, I think, unemployment, I think, and the other things I don't remember now. I'm sorry.
No problem, no problem.
But I see.
Yeah, if you remember, you can add, later. So,
Okay.
what do you think, Milena?
It's a delicate question because I don't think it's my place of speech, but I'm gonna give an example. My dad comes from a poor family and a minority because he's Black and most of his family too. So when we are talking, often he talks about, let's say, traumas that he had because he was from a poor family. And he comes from I don't know how to say Nordeste. So he came there with his family, only his mom, because his dad was an alcoholic. So it was like they moved here to have like better opportunities. But when he got here, it was difficult for them because of the inequality and people with preconceptions about them. So he had to, let's just say, he lived in a city and he had to move to another one to go to school, for an example, and he had to work at the same time. And for an example, my dad really liked to do karate. So he worked in the morning and then he didn't even took a shower, and then he go to the karate, and then he got back and didn't eat and then go to school, and it was like this. So when we are talking, I can see like he has a lot of traumas because of the things that poverty brings to him. I don't know if this makes sense to you guys. So I think the emotional side is it's like I don't know how to explain this, but he tried his best so me and my sister didn't have to go through what he go through. I don't know if this makes sense to you guys. So I think there are a lot of consequences that had to be worked because it's something that affects you a lot, not just in physical ways, but also in emotional ways.
Yeah, it's about it, this question is totally about it. And how about you, Max? What do you think?
Oh, I agree with Milena. So I think people like they don't wanna allow poor people to have like good conditions of life. So if you see someone that is considered poor, like buying a cell phone or I don't know, a computer, they're like, oh, aren't you poor? Like you can't have this, Or they are like traveling or doing something that like there's not working and going home in basic living conditions, and they are like, oh, you can't do that, So I think that's the emotional bad part of this situation, because like when you're poor, they expect you to just work, go home, and like just live, just exist. You can't have like a good time with your family. You can go to somewhere. You can have like a video game, for example. And I think that's the downside size of it, and it must be pretty bumped,
Yeah, yeah. And you, David, what do you think? What's your opinion?
Oh yeah, your question talks about the emotional. Yeah, there is quite a lot of it. I mean, uh, this is very difficult to approach coming from a first-hand perspective. Well, I get a lot of friends who are Black and who talk about how they've been discriminated just on the premises of being Black. And but I like to remove the prejudgment. I mean, being Black does not mean that you're poor, right? I mean, we have extremely rich Black guys out there. But it's just so sad that we live in a community, in a society that that looks at race as a symbol for how rich you are or how poor you are. And one thing that helps us to eliminate this is how rich the mind is, right? How enlightened are you? What do you know? Not just in terms of monetary values, like you said, or I mean, you could have someone who is not really educated. I mean, he didn't go to the university, but he's rich in the mind, and irrespective of whatever the society might think, he's able to shield himself from those darknesses that might exist. And I think that that's one of the practical approach that I use as a person. I mean, people tend to complain, or I was treated badly because I was bad. The cops maltreated me, or I went to supermarket and but I feel like how you carry yourself, like your presentation kind of matters a lot. I mean, how do you present yourself to these people? How do they perceive you once they see you? Do they see you as a different kind of person? I mean, that's one of the questions I usually get when I speak to people. I'm like, oh man, if I was maxing my body, like maybe I was wearing a mask that doesn't show my skin color, they begin to wonder, like, you're black, you know? So that's what I think is a major driving force that can help. I mean, how do you position your mind? I mean, how do you behave in public? It's no, I mean, I'm not going to apologize to our ancestors for creating the social bias that already exist. But going forward, we need to find how to navigate these processes. And one of those things is learning the right attitude, the emotional intelligence, how to behave in the public, how to speak with people, right? How to carry yourself, because it's not your responsibility to determine how somebody else would treat you, but the way you treat yourself would determine how the other person is going to regard you in the long run. So I feel like that's one of the steps that we can take as people. I mean, to be enlightened, to be rich in the mind, and as well as pocket. I'm going to give an example that kind to support my argument here. Like, you can see someone who doesn't have any money in his bank account, right? And he arrives somewhere and he gets the presidential treatment based on the way he carries himself, based on the way he presents himself. And they'll be like, no, this guy must be the president's son or one of the richest guy in this neighborhood. But he doesn't even have up to 500 reais in his account, right? So I feel like that has a very big role to play when it comes to eliminating the society.
Yeah, this conversation is totally about it, because it's the characteristics. What we have been discussing here is that it's not all about just money. We have a lot of problem, regionalities. We have the races, the prejudice, so a lot of another problem that you can kind of link all the problems in order to solve, them, or at least the most part of them, So is that the reason that this kind of conversation is so important. So another characteristic.
It's a deep topics. You have to talk all day, 24 hours to talk about poverty.
We would Renato, keep coming. This week we're gonna discuss a lot about the subject, but in different approach.
Okay.
I brought this. There's the characters, but the people maybe will say about another subject and will be fun as well. Interesting. So let's move to the 5 question. The question number 5. The global social mobility index is an index that measures the intergenerational social mobility in different countries in relation to socioeconomic outcomes. Of 82 countries in the ranking, Brazil occupied the number 60 position. What will be the reason for such a bad position? Milena, if you smile, it's because you know.
Milena knows all.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I think there are many reasons that we are in such bad position, and I don't think it's something that comes from like 10 years ago. It's something that comes from the start from history of Brazil. So I don't know. I don't even know where to start, where we can start to get this better. But I believe that corruption is something that affects a lot Brazil since the start of our history, because it's always the things are taken from the poor ones and give to the rich ones, and like the minority is always put down and it's not a priority ever. So I think it's something that needs to start changing from, for example, let's just say that the next generation, not me, I don't think I can do like a lot to change this. It's something that needs to be teach for our children, for that they can change Brazil in the next years. So as I said, I really believe in the power of education. So I think it's something that needs to be taught for them, so there can really exist the difference in the future. So I think education is the key of everything. Of course, there are many other things that we can do to change. Like education is not just about learning things, it's also about apply them to your life. Like teach kids how to not have preconceptions with other, teach how racism can be a bad thing for others, and teach about feminism, and teach people that they can make their own choices and give them the opportunities to make those choices. So I think this is basically what I'm trying to say. I don't know if you guys understand. It's a little bit harder.
I understood and I agree.
Yeah, so I think that's it.
You said a very interesting point. And how about you, Max? What do you think?
So I was searching about this index because I didn't knew it, and I saw that some characteristics of it that affected it, and the main part of it that is affected in Brazil, or as he said, the worst rate that we had is in fair salaries distribution. So like the ones that get paid more, they get a lot more than the ones that get paid low. And that's something that I guess, as I said in the first question, I guess we have to change, like giving, first of all, opportunities to people that don't have those opportunities nowadays, to make more money and have good salaries too. And then, of course, as David said, creating them like the willing, and they have to be willing to get these job opportunities and to study and to have more qualified jobs, because you can't live like only with some people having great salaries and others getting paid too low. And
amazing.
We have to change this situation.
Yeah, perfect. We building a concept. Milena said about the corruption, and you said about the inequality in the salary. So we can link and create a kind of big insight about it. And how about you, Renato? What do you think?
I don't know too much because I think the government could change this, could change this situation in Brazil. And I think the how can I say, different races in Brazil, it's a part of this. We have in Brazil, we have how can I say, desigualdades sociais, inequality. I don't know if inequality, social inequality. I think it's the point. That's why Brazil is in the rank, I think.
Yeah. Thanks. And how about you, David?
Okay. So if I get your question correctly, because I've been hearing a lot of discussions that have been dancing around. So can you kind of rephrase it again so I don't go off topic, please? Like, can you state the question again, please?
Read the question again.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so yeah, very fast. The Global Social Mobility Index is an index that measures the intergenerational social mobility in different countries in relation to socioeconomic outcomes.
Okay.
Of 82 countries in the ranking, Brazil occupied the number 60 position. What would be the reason for such a bad position? You can answer, about Nigeria if you.
Oh, that's fine. I'm going to
like.
talk about Brazil. I mean, Brazil and Nigeria, they're like twin countries. We have over 200 million people in Brazil, and similarly in Nigeria, we have over 200 million people as well. So that's a lot of people. So I mean, this index tries to measure. It's more of a distribution index. So we're looking at, out of 200 million people, how many people have access to good life, right? So irrespective of the fact that, I mean, they could have another country, let's say, I'm going to use South Africa, for example. South Africa might have a better index compared to Brazil. It doesn't necessarily mean that South Africa is doing better than Brazil. It just means that out of the population in Brazil, what the greater percentage of people living in that country have access to a good life, right? So the population has a lot of role to play. Brazil is getting very big, and it's getting big every day. And yet, only a very small percentage of those people have access to those funds, and for us to change that, for us to change this this issue, we're going to start from revisiting the minimum wage. Brazil already has a very good minimum wage. I won't lie to you. When I came in newly, I learned that the minimum wage is about 1,000 reais, and when I converted 1,000 reais to the Nigerian minimum wage, man, there's a whole lot of big gap, and that it's a good one. And then another thing that affects that is, what's the cost of living like in Brazil? Because even if someone earns 1,000 reais in Nigeria, that guy is a big guy. Like, he's going to live very well because of the cost of living. With 1,000 reais, you could have paid for your apartment for an entire year. You understand? So we need to visit the cost of living. I know Brazil likes to, no offense, man, Brazil likes to do a lot of copying. Like, we try to copy the European system, the American system. But is that truly what's going to work for us as Brazilians or as Nigerians? We have to build our own systems. So, for example, the rentage system, like the real estate. How can you pay over 50% of your monthly earning for your accommodation? That's so huge. This thing happens in developed nations like America and the UK. It's okay because they have a system that provides that. These guys, if you're paying 400 pounds, the person is probably earning up to 2,000 pounds. It's never up to 50%. I came to Brazil, I have to pay more than 50% of my earning for just accommodation alone. And I've not talked about the other bills. So irrespective of where you place the minimum wage, we also have to cut down on cost of living, accommodation, feeding, and we have to be sincere with ourselves. Where is this money going to? I mean, you pay for internet. What's the cost of the internet? Is it okay? Not comparing it with other countries, comparing it in-house to those who cannot afford it. And that's why the poor guys keep enriching the rich ones, because you keep paying exorbitant amounts for services that shouldn't be that costly. And so if you have someone who like, for example, you are an average person, you're trying to make life, you're trying to raise yourself, and when you remove all your bills your house rent, your bills, your water bills, and everything. Almost 80% of your money is already gone to some other person who had the opportunity to build those companies, and you have only 20%. So that's where the problem is coming from. Cost of living, very, very important. So I think
Yeah, you go deep now, Zenit. Very interesting points, to compare, to make this comparison. Yeah, it's very good to know about it, because you have to look beyond the data, not only in a simple index or something like this. Very good one. Well, guys, the conversation, it's awesome. I'm gonna make a very good question for Renato. What do you have? What do you have that you consider being a privilege?
What do you have being? I don't know. People who talks with me today think I am a privileged person, but I'm not a privileged person, because when I was young, the first thing I would like to do was to play soccer. For example, I didn't use study when I was 14, 17. I was play soccer. I wanted to be a soccer player, and I didn't study. But when I saw I lost the opportunity to be the soccer player, I decided to study. I have my family was poor, and I decided to study to change my life. That's it.
Yeah, amazing.
I think the study it's the good point to change. If you want to change, you have to study. The first thing first.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. And how about you, Marcos? What do you have that you consider being a privilege?
Okay, so I think I consider privileges mostly opportunities, So if you have like money, you can consider, of course, money something related to privilege, but you can earn like R1,000,000 in a lottery, for example, and then spend it in a year with useless things that are not creating something for your future or something like that. But when you have opportunities, for example, when you're young and you have the first opportunity of go to a good school, then you have privilege of this opportunity. So I guess that's one of the things that I consider myself a privileged person, because I had many of these opportunities, and mostly I enjoyed them. I took use of them.
Yeah, awesome. So guys, welcome again. How was the conversation? Did you like? Did you get
Milena, you don't talk.
Yeah,
I love to answer Milena talking about the subject.
She has a very, very interesting point of view. And Marini, how was the conversation? Did you like?
Yes, it was a good conversation. It's a difficult topic, a difficult subject, but it was very interesting. The guys were very nice, and we can't finish it because it was very difficult to discuss topics. I think we stopped in the topic 3, but it was a very, very good conversation, different points of view, and everyone was very respectful. So I enjoy
awesome
it.
Awesome to know it. So guys, I'm gonna ask you a question. Let me see, Leticia, imagine that you need to give an advice, a comfort to someone who is in a situation of social vulnerability. What would you say?
It's a situation of a bad?
Yeah. and a social vulnerability.
Social, okay.
What
Oh
would you
my
say
God.
to
Yeah,
help the people, you know?
to comfort. Oh my God, that's so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think first of all, I would be like so nervous because I would feel the you know I would feel the pain, and it's really hard to see this situation. But I don't know. I think what can I say?
To listen what people need, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, to listen. Yeah, I think it's really important to know how to listen, but also to find a way to help.
Yeah.
Sometimes the help is just
Amazing.
talk to the person, stay in contact. Like, don't forget the person, just stay. Sometimes we cannot do much, but we can keep in touch, keep talking, and help the person with find back the confidence to find for whatever they need to fight. I think, or if I can help somehow, like for example, if I can donate something or give some money, I don't know, but it's so hard sometimes. But I think the first thing is try to keep in touch with the person and talk to them. It's never give up the person, right? Never give up. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome. How about you, Milena? I think you have a good point as well. So
It's a tough question because we never know what we're gonna do until we are in that situation. So I think it's the most important thing is to show your support and show the person that you are there for them. And I think words aren't like are not something that it's gonna make things, let's say, better. It's only gonna make the person feel better. So I think actions is the thing that are gonna really help this person. And you can help not just giving them money, but you can help with your support and being there for them. As Leticia said, you have to show them that you are there. And I think basically that's it. It's a tough question. I never thought about it.
yeah. We are here to discuss the truth, the truth about the world, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good because, you know, we are kind of, you know, improve our knowledge in terms of everything, not just, you know, about English.
Especially
So
in Brazil, because we see the situation in the streets in Brazil.
Yeah.
In São Paulo, for example, I see all day.
Yeah,
Every day.
This is our purpose, you know, in this community is to embrace this kind of, you know, a conversation, you know, make it better, make the people understanding more, you know, and get more knowledge and information for our lives. So, guys, our time running out. You know, was a pleasure to talk with you. You know, it's sad. You will receive a feedback, you know, and on your email. So please answer it. Put my name, Angel Miller, and help us to improve this community, you know, making some suggestions if you want to know something like this, and information that you can say is important for us, improve as a community, you know. And that's it, guys. We live in a problem situation, so take care of your family, you know, wash your hands, keep in social distancing, and stay safe and at home if it's possible. So that's it. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, pessoal.
Bye,
Bye-bye.